One more DWRG review. This is from Tim Roll Pickering, published on the 11th of the 4th, 03. He cites Mordred Undead as highly intelligent. Virtually anyone who ever reviews this story bring up the continuity at some point, so let's start there. This story makes two major contributions to the series' continuity, both contradicting what was stated in the mid-1970s. At times it has been crucified for one, yet the other seems to have been accepted full scale, with barely a whisper of protest. The latter is the fact that the Doctor has by this time regenerated 4 times and has 8 regenerations left, something that had not been explicitly stated in the series at all before this point. This ties in with a throwaway line in The Three Doctors, but contradicts the brain of Morbius. But since most fans had by this point taken the view that William Hartnell was the original Doctor to be a clear fact, it is unsurprising that this landmark in establishing continuity has been virtually overlooked, especially in light of the story's contribution to the question of unit dating. Yes, that old chestnut. Mordred Undead makes it clear that the Brigadier retired in 1976, and therefore the unit stories all took place before then. This is more or less in line with Time Flight, although no clear dates were given there. It is clearly both contemporary and set after the Doctor's time with UNIT and K9 and Company, where 1981 appears to be some years after Sarah finished travelling with the Doctor. But it's Mordred Undead which goes further than those two stories by setting down very clear dates that are in no way ambiguous. Given that the dates for UNIT were never clear in the first place, as the dates established in the Web of Fear and the Invasion are clearly contradicted by that given in Pyramids of Mars, whilst a whole host of deleted scenes, early draft scripts, internal memos, contemporary interviews and guides, and the like just add to the confusion. It is completely unfair to single out Mordred Undead for going with the contemporary view. It is easy to suspect that the strong popularity of Pyramids of Mars has been a factor in this debate, but it would be wrong to judge this story for supposedly getting something wrong when there is no clear evidence just what is right, and letting continuity get in the way of a good story is a dangerous course to take. Otherwise, there is a huge amount going for Mordred Undead. The decision to set the story in 2 time zones which are affecting each other is a bold one and makes for an intelligent story, but at the same time the plot never becomes confusing and the 2 time zones don't get mixed up at all. Equally strong is the concept of Mordred and his fellow mutants who seek only to escape from their immortality and who come across as extremely sympathetic. The only real villain in the story is the Black Guardian, manipulating Turlough from afar and trying to get him to destroy the Doctor. Wisely, this ongoing subplot is mixed in well with the story, providing an added sense of danger and uncertainty. The story sees the return of the Brigadier for the first time in 8 years. There is nothing at all strange about a retired military officer ending up at a British public school as CEO of the school's combined cadet force, or even taking on some teaching responsibilities. As the Brigadier points out, the job is a mix and he's not purely a mathematics teacher. One of the strongest themes of the story is friendship, with many points where the Doctor and or his companions take risks for each other, reminding us all of the bonds between them. This makes the addition of Turlough an interesting factor, since his motivations for joining the Travellers is very different. There is some technobabble in the story, but the dialogue manages to make it simple, even when resorting to lines such as, well, zap, to put it in perspective. The result is a highly ambitious script which works well and is one of the strongest of the entire series, representing a major improvement on Peter Grimwade's previous effort, Time Flight. The concept of 2 brigadiers is one of the story's most notable points. Nicholas Courtney manages to simultaneously, effortlessly recreate his performance from the 1970s as the younger brigadier, whilst at the same time making the older brigadier seem more weary and tired. Thanks to some good makeup, it is easy to conceive of the two of them being 6 years apart. Equally strong is Mark Strickson's debut performance, where he has to play Turlough, a character with an uncertain background, but he manages to make the character memorable and likeable enough, whilst at the same time it is still possible to believe that he could kill the Doctor if forced to. The other major roles in this story are Mordred, who is sympathetically portrayed by David Collings, and the Black Guardian, who is reprised by Valentine Dyal. Whereas the Armageddon Factor used a negative image on the TARDIS screen to portray the Black Guardian, here he is shown in a black costume, but given the requirements of the story and the more limited video effects available at the time, it would have been impossible to show him as a negative image throughout. Dial's headpiece with the bird head on it has become legendary, but it isn't actually that noticeable here and looks like a strong symbol of power. Production-wise, Mordred Undead has some good location shooting, with whilst the interiors of Brendan are done well. The spaceship feels more like a luxury yacht than a travelling vessel, but this is entirely in keeping with the story, and it has some imaginative sets, which are well designed by Stephen Scott. Peter Moffat's direction throughout the story is strong, but the real icing on an already brilliant cake is Paddy Kingsland's wonderful music. Throughout the story, it never fails to set a strong tone that is pleasing to the ear and highly addictive. The result at the end is a story that is extremely enjoyable to watch and easily one of the true delights of Doctor Who.